All right, today we'll be taking a look at a game, a 14Q facing a 13Q. And before we get into it, I just want to shout out to the sponsor of this video, SumegoDragon.com, where you can do Go problems sorted by category like capture, connecting, corner patterns, also known as Joseki, double Ataris, extending liberties, 6 space I, 5 space I, 9 space I, all of that fun stuff. Additionally, I would like to do a shout out to the game reviews and lessons because I also do teach Go for a living. So if you want a quick review, you can do so actually per game for just $3 or $2.99. I try to make it as cheap as possible so people could get any sort of teaching with regardless of how much they're willing to spend. So you can do a game per game review, or you can do lessons by upgrading your Sumego Dragon plan and getting lessons every single month. Okay, so let's get back into the review. So 14Q versus 13Q, so it is a DDK game. Okay, ooh, we're playing a 5-4 point. Interesting. Okay. Very interesting play by white so far. Typically, the Colossi approach says that we want to respond to an approach. However, there is also the idea that we don't want black to play their favorite opening. So this is the Kobayashi opening, so it is possible that black is after this. So you could just pincer right here, even though it's, according to some opening theory, it's suboptimal, but it does prevent your opponent from playing their plan. And you could just play out this variation right here. And that would be a possible way to play this. Another option would be to immediately approach and take away the corner enclosure of the 3-4 point. And this would be a big fighting opening, but the idea is to stop black from doing what they want to do. However, white is very focused on what they want to do. So technically it's not Colossi approach, but if they've been studying it and they're fine with it, then they can do it. Opening's pretty free. You can do what you want, as long as you put in the effort to research it and understand the ins and outs of it. Okay, black is going in here. I would be a little cautious about giving white more wall, simply because it feels like this is going along with white's plan. So I'd be a little bit cautious about letting my opponent do what they want. It's interesting that white wants to block this way. So technically speaking, this stone right here actually wants this square. Okay, so when you're playing the start point, you're actually after this square. So this stone is actually after this square. It actually doesn't care about the corner very much, right? So if black invades a corner, which is possible, and white's playing this way, oh boy, we'll get into this move in a second. But if white plays this way, it means white is after all of this influence, which does give black a lot of cash, though. I'm not convinced this is correct, but I'm also not going to say it's incorrect. So we'll see what white's plan is. But this is a classic blunder. It's not a blunder in modern times, but it is a blunder for below 5Q. And this is because in modern play, the stronger players already know about this and know about the punishment and the trick and everything else, but AI has showed us like ways that it's okay. However, if you don't know any of that, you're gonna die. So you gotta be very careful. Okay, let's see if black knows the punishment. Here, here, and here. So it doesn't look like quite correct, but let me show you the proper punishment. If we descend right here, this is a trap, okay? The Hane is slightly better, but this is the trap. If your opponent goes down, you cut, and now either A or B will die. And I did go over this in a video very recently. I believe it was within the last like 5 videos. It was a famous blunder or something. Let me see. It was some blunder about it. But this is a video that was also done recently. Someone else just made this mistake as well in an AOL video. Very important corner pattern right here, 3 videos ago. So also watch this one if you're watching this one now. If you want to learn more about this, also watch the opening of this one. Okay, so the idea here is if you extend I can turn and you cannot escape thanks to this fantastic little tactic at 7, right? You are trapped against the edge. You will die. So you cannot block. You must play like this. And then you can turn. Now, this one is not the end of the world. We can actually keep developing. So that's why in modern times it's a little okay. But if you don't know it, you die. So for me, it's like very, very high risk. So I don't know if I would play it. This one is considered slightly better if you assume that the opponent knows to fix. And I would not assume that at this level. I would always set up the trap at this level simply because you lose like 1 point, maybe 2 at the most, but you're setting up the opportunity for your opponent to walk into your trap. So I think losing 1 or 2 points at best to give the opportunity to kill something is a very good gamble right there. And very high odds of it working at this level. Now, white did descend, and I think this is not okay simply because there is a cutting point right here. So you could simply go like this. When white plays this way and fixes their cut, there's a throw-in threat right there, and then we can go down. So white must play right here. And now I think I would go right here simply to make sure I take the liberty, but it does leave a nose to Tsuji. And the way I know that is because if I cut and cut, Tsuji's tactic, sorry, I said that without thinking. So there is a nose tactic. The tactics come at 3 lifelines or less, 3 liberties or less, right? So because there's 3 right here, I can play the nose later. Okay, so I just keep that in my head. I can play the nose later. It's not something I would do right now, though. But because there's cutting points right there, I have a squeeze tactic, which also is known as playing on the nose, because it's the nose of these 2 stones. Typically, it's 3 lifelines or less that does that. Now, not a double-digit Q tactic. Don't worry about it. If you can't remember it, I don't want you to play it. Please do not play this if you're not confident in it. This is a very, very bad shape if you do it wrong. Okay, do not play it if you are not confident in the timing. Okay, so with that being said, white can keep bullying these stones, but the more and more and more white bullies it, the faster these 2 stones will die. So I think it'd be a little difficult for white. So if you're confident in your fighting, you can definitely do it. I'm not against black's plan because defense before offense, I think, is a very classy approach way to play. And even if white fixes now, then you still get the first move to go elsewhere. So I still think black is still got a nice position. Even if it's not as good as killing something, I feel like you should be confident in getting the first move elsewhere. I think you should be happy with it because you took white's corner and you get to go somewhere else first. I think it's perfectly fine. The only thing white really has right now is this section, which I believe is 4, 8, 12. So I don't think it's that big of a deal because you already have, we can say 5 right there, and we'll say 5 for a corner, for having a corner with nothing there. So we already have 15 to 12. White has Comey, so 18 to 15, 3 points, but we got here first, so this is going to be shared. So you could argue you're down by 3, but also you haven't even started to develop your position yet. So I think it's pretty close. I think it's perfectly fine. I would be comfortable as black. I don't hate this at all. Okay, this is pretty nice. This is also fine. It does leave a little bit more of a peeping play compared to this one, which is a ladder down to the left. Slight difference. As long as there's no ladder breaker threat, this one's better. Otherwise, I would just connect because now there's no peep at all. Technically, this one also fixes, but it does leave a little bit of a peep, which can lead to potential for invasions later. So slightly little bit of weakness there, but I think it's not a huge deal. As long as you're fixing your cuts, that's where you're going to lose the games, is not fixing the cuts. So having a peep or not a peep is not a huge deal because it doesn't die. Okay, that's interesting. Typically you go here, so this isn't bad though. Like, this is a move. I felt that white should keep expanding. Now, I'm sure you're worried about your opponent coming in, but that's exactly what you want. This is saying, I want super awesomeness right here. Hey, I'm wearing a Dragon Ball Z shirt. Okay, so we're going to say what you want is a massive Kamehameha wave. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, send that Kamehameha wave all the way across the board. All right, send it across the board. Okay, that is what this sort of formation does. you wouldn't send the Kamehameha wave this way. That just hits your own self. That's a backwards Kamehameha wave. That just doesn't make sense, right? So this one does go for a little bit of cash, but if you make cash and I make cash, you've gained nothing, right? You don't really do anything. So if we both gain cash, then you're not getting anything. So you have to threaten to gain a lot, and then when they come in, then you'll gain Sente cash, and Sente is forcing, or you keep the initiative. So now I can actually gain, come on, click this down. I can gain cash while you have to survive. Maybe something like that. You have to survive right here. And now I'm gaining cash while you're gaining just a little tiny bit. Okay, I gain cash here, I gain cash here. Okay, so you're gaining cash and Sente. That is a very large difference. I can't just cancel it out because I don't have 17 moves of Sente. That is the way you win the game, is you gain profit, which is Sente cash. Or forcing cash. Very big move. I like it a lot. Okay, we are expanding. 4 space is fine. This is on the 4th line, so again, this means you're putting a lot of emphasis on the center square and not the side. If you want the side, you need to go 3rd line because your opponent is over here, so you don't want to develop if your opponent's over there. This is Colossi approach. However, this is possible. It's just a lot more center-oriented, and I typically don't say that's a good idea at this level, simply because center is really hard to play at this level. It's hard to keep. I've seen it lost a lot, and I've seen players tunnel vision on getting the side with their 4th line moves, which doesn't make any sense because you played the 4th line, not the 3rd line. So I see that a lot, but we'll see how this goes. This is perfectly fine on the right side. However, it would be here. This gives you a 2 space extension in both directions. So this is wedging the side, because if you go right here, I make a comfortable base. You go right here, I make a comfortable base. So this is kind of what you want to think about. You want to have a Miai, which means if you play one, I play the other. You want to have a Miai to make a base. If you go here and I take your base, you cannot make that 2 space extension. So now you have to run away. And now I start making profit, all right? Now I can start making my profit. Maybe I even cash out. That's a really big area. I could even start making it bigger. I could attach to keep it Sente and start a fight because this is my area. I want to fight in my house, right? If I fight in my house, it's not against the law because you're in my house. So you got to be smart when you pick your fights. If you fight in someone else's house, then it's against the law. But if you fight in your house, it's self-defense. Anyway, so this is actually a pretty common bad move. You do not run from a baseless group or a weak stone because there's no eyes right here. There's no base. There's no foundation. So right here, there is foundation. This is space to make eyes, space for life. Okay, if you don't have a foundation, then you're running with a knight's move, which is 2 and then 1, like in chess. However, knight's moves have a cutting point. Okay, this is very important. Knight's moves and bends, also known as hanais, which is this shape. This sort of white goes into this sort of bend. Both of these shapes are very, very common ways to lose your game, okay? These are very, very important. Please remember these. They have cutting points, and cutting points are how you lose, okay? Knight's moves and bends are really good for getting around something to develop a position, limit the position, to get around a weak group. So it's really good for going around something. But you can't do it from weakness. If you do it from weakness, then you're going to get cut and you're going to have 2 problems instead of 1 problem. Okay, you cannot surround and attack with weakness. That is going to get you killed. So as black, my immediate first thought, can I cut this? Boom, boom, boom. This is my house. Okay, I can attack in my house. So if I cut this, now white has a problem at A and a problem at B as long as my cutting stones do not die. And in this case, there is no ladder and there is no net, thanks to this lovely, lovely looking ladder right here. So because there is no ladder and there is no net, I have cut you and you have 2 issues, okay? There's 2 ways to cut the knight, so you check that one and then you can check this one. This one is usually not the way because the ladder goes to the center instead of the edge, and in this case, the ladder is good for white. If you desperately need to get in the top left, though, this is a great way to get a free move up here because you get a ladder breaker. It is very expensive. Don't do this lightly. But if you need 2 moves in a row, that is a way to do it, is to threaten a knight down here. But anyway, tactics. So don't play a knight's move for defense. You're asking to die, okay? You're asking to lose the game when you do that. You need to play a 1-space jump. If you are not playing a jump or you're playing something cuttable instead, you're asking to get in a lot of trouble. 2-space jump is possible. I do not recommend this until 5Q. This is what's known as sabaki, or playing lightly, which means when we play in this way, I'm fine with something getting cut as long as something happens on the bigger position in order for me to destroy it. Okay, so yeah, I lose something, which is expensive. Don't do this lightly. But I get a position down here established, and you don't get a giant framework. This is known as sabaki, 5Q+. I'm saying it because I know some of you do it, and you're going to be like, oh, but this other teacher told me to do it. Timing is important, okay? Timing is very important with these things. Do not play a cuttable shape like a 2-space jump or knight's move or a bend. Don't play those so easily, okay? This is why you're dying everywhere, is probably because of these shapes, because you're getting cut when you're playing defense. 1 weakness at a time, easy game. 3 weaknesses at a time, or 2 weaknesses at a time, or 5 weaknesses at a time, like I see a lot. That's how you die. That's how you lose games, okay? So make sure you're doing this properly. You're playing defense at defense, offense at offense. Okay? For black, do not miss the opportunity to attack your opponent. When they have weakness, this is your opportunity to gain the lead. If you never attack weakness, you can't really gain the lead unless you just have better opening or middle game than your opponent. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It's cool to be stronger than the opponent. But if you're facing someone your level, you can't win if you don't attack. Okay, that's how you gain the lead. So defense is preventing your opponent from maximizing the lead. Offense is where you actually gain the lead and you want to maximize your lead. A good thing to do when you're attacking is try to ask yourself, how can I gain 5 points in Sente? How do I gain 5 points while keeping the initiative? Typically, take the base and then cap is a very, very good tactic, and try to surround them. And then as you do this, you see how you gain probably 5 points over here, okay? If your opponent runs this way, that's perfectly fine. You'll go like this, and then gain 5 points over here. They run away. Ta-da, you have gained points, and then you go back and fix your weaknesses. Okay, that is a good way to do it. 5 points while keeping the initiative, and you should be very happy. Take the base, surround, common surround moves, you know, like knight's moves and hanes or bends. Capping move is typically where it starts. Caps, then followed by knight's moves, sometimes bends, sometimes elephant's eyes, but I don't have a good example for that right now, so don't worry about it. But yeah, take the base, surround, make 5 points, go somewhere else first, okay? Take the base, surround, 5, play elsewhere. Take the base, surround, 5, play elsewhere. Say it with me now. Take the base, surround, make 5, play elsewhere. Okay, that is how you win the game. That is how you win. Don't miss your attack timings, and please do not attack from a weak group like this one. You do not have the right to say, I'm going to attack you in your house, okay? That is against the law, okay? Against the Classy law. You're going to go to Classy jail if you try to attack with all this weakness. You have an unsettled group here, you have an unsettled group here with a cutting point, and the 3 is probably possible to play, but as soon as I start doing anything, any sort of defense play, right, I can counterattack you, okay? I can just counterattack this entire position, and then as I get stronger, let me just place. I'm playing some random crap on here. Let me just play some stuff. As I get stronger, let's say I just play this way. Okay, you're going to surround me. Okay, well, now I'm going to counter surround you. You're going to cut me. Well, I've already cut you now, so now let's go defend over here. Okay, and then as soon as I get strong over here, you're dying. Right, and now you also have more weakness here. You would love to make your points, right? You'd love to make your influence, but you can't. You're dying. Where are you going to get your 5 points? You're dying everywhere. How could you get 5 points? You're going to lose the game. All right, don't try to attack with weakness, please. Please, 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 please. Okay. All right. I'm at about 20 minutes, and I try to keep these reviews about 20 minutes because I think overwhelming you with information is not the way to go. So hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Again, shout out to semegodragon.com. If you want to get good at Go problems and master your cutting points, connection tactics, because if you're connected and you can't be cut, you don't have to fix it. Okay, you get more moves in the game. That's a great way to learn that. Nets, ladders, all the categorized puzzles, and I am also seeking students. So if you would like me to analyze your games on a call with you, you can do so by upgrading your Mega Dragon plan. I do teach Go for a living, so it helps me out. And finally, if you would like me to look at your game like I'm doing with this one, you can do so for only $3 or $2.99 because that's how marketing works. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.